This weekend's project is turning ATV tires into flower planters. I didn't film the first one. This is the first attempt that I had made, and this was the end cutout from it. So now I can use that as a stencil, but the way I actually figured out how to do it is this was my original, and I literally just traced them out like you can see there with a Sharpie. I just kept leapfrogging until I got around to the final 3 spaces, and then you just sort of adjust this last one to where you need to be. This tire here, as you can see, I've split the difference in half. So instead of them being big broad pedals, they're going to be quite a bit narrower and longer. And then we'll try a teacup after this. Alpha works the best. Set at the depth so it doesn't get away from you. The black blades are carbide, quite a bit tougher, and they tend not to break in the rubber. Don't have a lot of hand strength. This job is going to be a really hard one for you, and I also suggest you always use a super sharp knife. And they also sell gloves at hardware stores that you can't cut yourself through, so if you're not worried about it, you'll probably be the guy who cuts himself. But yeah, I'll get back to you once I cut this out, and then I'll show you a time lapse of exactly what's included in flipping one of these things inside out. It is not fun, and unless you are fit and have a ton of hand strength, you probably won't get it done. So one other piece of information I forgot to say is this was my original template that I used. Just divided it in half and made a smaller one and put it on. And in case you're not absolutely perfect on what you're doing, the 3-4-5 method or whatever, flip this in between each one. And that way, if it is off, it's still going to have a natural look by the time you get to the next one. Flip it again, because if you're off by a certain amount on one side and go all the way around, by the time you hit the other side, 2 of them are going to be on this sort of a funky angle. This is one we're going to try next, and it would be more of like a round pedal. So I'll probably end up using a jigsaw or a rotary tool. That is one faulty Dunlop tire. So I got it all trimmed out. For those of you who don't know, this is steel in most tires, and about here towards the tread is steel, so the sidewall is usually pretty decent to cut through. There's some effort, but just nice and slow. Honestly, it kills your hands to do it, this many cuts anyways. That's how she's going to be versus the fatter ones. I'm hoping that's going to be pretty decent. I now have to put it on time lapse if I muscle this thing inside out. Tires are not designed to be flipped inside out. So you got to concave it first. The very beginning is the hardest for this thing, I find. So get it inside out first. Half of it's done. Alright, so the fact of the matter is there's no easy way to do this. That's the difference. I kind of like these pedals more. This looks very sunflowery, and this looks like
sunshine.
So one of the other things I like to do is clean up this edge. I just take the sharpness off without hitting into this belting. I'll just try to do it in one pass and it won't get jaggedy, like that. And like that. Cut towards yourself, safety third.
Put your finger.
Just cleans up the edge on them, I find. Alrighty, now we're to round 3. These were my first 2. And this is its big brother. Those were front tires of a quad. This is the back tire, so it's going to be quite a bit fatter, so I'm not too sure how it's going to work out, but we'll let you know. So now the true work starts. What color you going?
Bright red with yellow on the tips of the flowers.
And what kind of paint are you using?
Oil-based. This is an oil-based rust paint, trim clad, in a gloss. It's actually called Fire Red.
This oil-based stuff stinks, so make sure you're outside, lots of ventilation.
Yeah, lots of drop cloths.
Yeah, we don't want to make that mistake. Funny thing is that paint was free too, because I got that from a tenant who moved out, just left it behind.
Oh, really?
And it painted our boat, and now we're doing Saturday project.
Just gotta take your time and go slow.
Not me, I would have just put it in a tank and dipped it.
You don't have to try and go perfect the first time you do it.
It's unique, and if the petals are a little bit off, that's probably the same thing that would happen in nature if there was a little fading of whatever.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Alright, this is our teacup. It was our larger quad tire that was flipped inside out, so a rear tire off a quad. Usually what a lot of people will do is the portion that was cut out, so that would have been basically there, they will use this as the saucer and throw this back up. And it kind of doesn't look like a saucer. So what I like, an actual teacup, usually has a little pedestal on the bottom of it. Something like that. So then what I'll do is put a piece of plywood underneath and a piece of plywood inside that fits in that bead and just cinch it together, drill some holes through it. Make sure it's treated or cedar or something that'll last some time. This is going to be our handle. It's garden hose, and as you can see, we've jammed doweling in there. This one I put on an angle. It's a bit of a task, but if you can flip a tire inside out, you can definitely do this. It's going to sit like that, and then this one will curve around. Sorry, I only got the one hand to do it. And it'll sit something like that. We will screw it through one of the heavier lugs, the galvanized washer. Pre-drill this before you try to screw it because it will crack for sure. As far as the saucer goes, I'm going to look for a truck tire with a larger sidewall. I'm looking for something that actually comes out farther than the teacup because that's sort of what a saucer should look like. So we're going to paint this white tonight, and you'll probably see what it looks like tomorrow. Alright, we've got the drop sheets down. We're about to put first coat on the teacup, second coat on the red guy. We got the other stuff hanging out. Okay, we're quitting for the day. We did some gardening. We built that thing. That one. That one. This one here is going to get its last coat. This one here is going to get its last coat. And we should be done.